I had a hobby too. Mine happened to be guns and ballistics, and I studied guns and ballistics as much as I could, and I wrote an article about high velocity.
So out of all my years working at Weatherby, the last 5 have been some of the most exciting. Working with Adam, with him running the company.
And to think that I get the opportunity of carrying on my grandfather's legacy 75 years later here in Sheridan, Wyoming, I mean, it really is a dream come true.
Oh, I'm home. Thank God I'm home.
On our mark, the Weatherby Podcast.
Welcome to On Our Mark, the Weatherby Podcast. Today we've got some exciting stuff to talk about. I'm Luke Torkeldsen, and I'm joined by Zach Hine, our marketing director, and the Adam Weatherby.
What's up?
We're recording this a few days before we launch some new stuff that we're really excited to talk about. Adam, let's talk a little bit about the new stuff. Specifically, what we're calling the Backcountry 2.0.
Yeah, you bet. You know, it's been about 2 years ago. This month we launched the Backcountry and family, the Backcountry 2.0. Or Backcountry
exactly
TI.
2 years ago.
Yeah. And what's cool is kind of when we, I think, got into this space, and as we said, kind of right in there at that sub 5-pound rifle, you know, Magnum performance. You know, it was, I think we got into some cool new waters and tested some things out and got overwhelming response with that product the last
I messed up
2
the
years.
forecast on that one real bad, for sure.
Yeah. So for the Backcountry family in general, but as with anything, I think, and a lot of kind of our messaging here is to not get comfortable and to continue to push in our innovation and features and everything offered for that price. So we've been working the past year at launching a Backcountry 2.0 and just giving a facelift, giving some different new features that I'm pretty excited about, that I've been testing a lot of these things out this whole last hunting season, last fall into this spring, and really had these things out there. But I'm excited to be a part of a team that, I don't know, launches something we could have sat back and been excited about it for a long time, but instead a team that's driven and ready to kind of push it forward to the next level.
Yeah.
Well, you've been hunting with these for a while,
Right.
because I think we've been holding a few films. We got some films in the can that'll be rolling out here soon.
Right.
And yeah, you can get a little sneak peek for some folks that like eagle-eyed Weatherby fans who might have been watching some other films.
Yeah, on the I think the bear hunt,
The
that
gritty,
you did with
the gritty bear hunt.
Gritty and
Yep.
Lampers.
Was using a new product we'll talk about here in a bit on that one. So yeah, we you know, obviously just took the Backcountry and the Backcountry TI, and we have a 2.0 with a few new features. So, Luke, tell them about the features.
Yeah, so we actually are fluting the bolt a little bit deeper, so the bolt flutes look a little more dramatic, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
We have changed the bolt for the longest time. Weatherby's just had a standard bolt knob. It's a circle. We hollowed out the original Backcountry for weight savings. On this one, we actually are threading on a skeletonized bolt. So down the road, if ever you wanted to change your bolt knob to some custom, you can do that pretty easily. And then last but not least, we're using a new stock on these new Backcountry 2.0s, which is a new company, Peak 44. It's the black tooth stock. And it's got a newly designed 3D hex recoil pad on there.
Yeah, second generation of that.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I've been hunting with the new 2.0 for a while as well. That stock feels amazing. It's light, and we've had a few guys recently that we shipped some product out to ahead of this hunting season, and I don't know if I even. Well, no, you talked about our friend Bruce, who has a gun, and called you and was like, "This thing is super light. I expected it to recoil really bad. And also I expected the barrel to like heat up after one shot because it's so skinny. And none of that was true.
Yeah.
He's stacking bullets.
Yeah.
And it doesn't recoil bad. The 3D hex recoil pad on this one and the original Backcountry do so much with the brake, the AccuBrake ST, to reduce recoil. And so we're really excited. So we have both the Backcountry 2.0 and the Backcountry 2.0 titanium on the receiver. So weight-wise, the Backcountry 2.0 in the 6 lug, so like Creedmoor 6.5 RPM, 280 Ackley. Weight-wise, we're coming in 5.3 to 5.4 pounds. And on the 9 lug, the Magnum receiver, it's 6.2 pounds. Pretty much all those barrels are 26
And then
inches.
in titanium?
In titanium, 4.7 to 4.9 pounds in the 6 lug, and on the 9 lug, 5.6 pounds. So still some of the lightest production guns out there. Awesome performance. The 2.0 is $24.99. The 2.0 titanium is $33.49. So same price. We're adding a couple slightly different features, but keeping the price the same, which has been a challenge this year. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but like sourcing things, shipping things is pretty tough.
Yeah. No, and the stock is, this new Peak 44 stock, this Blacktooth stock has been, I think it's a well-made stock. It looks really good. It's lighter. The stock itself is lighter, real consistent weights we're finding in these stocks as well. So it's, I think the stock too is it's a good addition to the family.
And lots of little things about it. The palm swell on it, kind of the forend shape. You've got a little bit of a flat to the bottom of the forend, so you actually have about an inch of flat, which helps a lot.
Yeah, it does help when you're on the bench.
Talk about the bedding shelf too.
Yeah. So it's got kind of a revolutionary bedding shelf in it. It's got the rock solid carbon link. So basically, instead of using an aluminum bedding block or something like, you're able to use a piece of carbon. So it's a little piece of carbon that bonds the two sides of the stock together, and really just transfers a lot of that
the
energy.
recoil lug goes through that link. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So aluminum pillars and a carbon essentially bedding block, which is pretty darn cool.
Yeah. Yep. And we've put it through some pretty extensive tests as far as endurance tests and those things. Because when you produce a rifle this light, one of the questions is like, is it going to hold up? People grab it and feel like, is this real or is this a toy? And so, we've obviously been putting this thing through some not only extensive real world tests, but we've actually developed in our engineering department some different fixtures and different things to simulate just a lot of things to really beat things up, because that's what these things are made to do, is to get them in the field. Like you always say, I bring back the dirtiest guns.
Yeah.
So
I mean, really rough on things.
I am. I always say I'm product testing when I'm hunting.
Takes that field testing to the extreme.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I shot a bear with it this spring. Actually, no.
Nope, that's the next
product.
one.
Okay, yeah.
Well, decent segue then to the new Backcountry Carbon. So when we launched the original Backcountry, we also came out with an updated carbon mark using that BSF barrel. And some of the natural questions was, can I get that BSF barrel on the Backcountry stock? And at the time, it was hard to do the bigger inlet. Well, we figured it out with Peak 44, and we've got this new Backcountry Carbon using the BSF carbon barrel. So a few configurations, and the Backcountry Carbon as well. It's the first time we've had a 3378 in an ultra lightweight platform.
So we have the 3378 Backcountry Carbon, which I am leaving tomorrow on a hunt with, as a matter of fact. So, yeah, more product testing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they are slightly heavier because you just have more barrel material. So on that 6 lug, where the regular Backcountry is 5.3 to 5.4, on the Backcountry Carbon, it's 5.8 to 5.9 pounds. So it's almost a half a pound.
A little less than a half a pound if I go from the little skinny pencil barrel,
correct,
if you would, to the carbon fiber, kind of all the way across the board on
all
all
the way
those
across
models.
the board. Yep.
Now, one of the things is that I might mention is we're putting a titanium brake on the carbon fiber barrel, and that's on the steel and titanium receivered versions. So we have a Backcountry 2.0 carbon and a Backcountry 2.0 carbon TI. I don't know if I said that in the right order. But anyways, no matter if you buy the Backcountry Carbon in a steel receiver or titanium, all of those are going to have a titanium brake on the end. And the reason we did that a lot was not even just because of weight, but because of balancing. We try to
that was from your early testing in the field when you were
right.
really hard on the guns.
And to be honest, a lot of it was when I was glassing with the rifle on a sling. And when you have a top heavy gun, it tends to fall back. And it did that on some of the earlier ones when I had a steel brake. And so I put a titanium brake on it. And that helped with the balance, not only holding it, but putting it in the sling as well.
It really says something for the weight of the gun that the muzzle device makes such a big difference in the balance. I mean,
Yes.
that really speaks to how light that stock is.
For sure.
Well, Luke, what's the weight difference in the because on that BSF, which is our carbon fiber barrel we use, it's a large brake. So doing the titanium brake versus the steel, do you recall? I don't know if we prepared for that, but
say it was
significant.
It was like
significant in
2 ounces.
That's
or
what I thought.
something.
Yeah,
it was
significant when we're trying to shave.
When it's at the end of a 26-inch stick.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do all have on the Backcountry Carbon family do have a titanium brake, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So the one with the steel receiver is $29.99, and then the Backcountry Carbon TI is $37.49.
So one of the big questions you get is, wait a minute, I'm going to add 5 ounces or something by going to a carbon fiber barrel. Now, obviously because you still have a small steel barrel in there, and then you have carbon fiber material, so there's just more material. And obviously one of the questions we're going to get is, wait, why do I add 5 ounces with this barrel? What am I getting, from that? Luke, how would you answer that?
When you have a little pencil barrel and you're sending Magnum bullets down, the barrel is going to heat up, I would say, after 3 to 5 shots. It's just going to happen. On that carbon barrel, there's just kind of something magical about that BSF barrel. We've set company accuracy records with that, and beat and rebeat with the same barrel in 300
It's the
Weatherby.
tension part of that barrel, and it's a chance to talk about this barrel, but it's because of the carbon fiber tube and then the barrel nut on the end providing tension. I believe even when the barrel does heat up, it holds its accuracy. It holds its consistency and accuracy because of it. So that's one of the things I think we're finding on it. I'm taking this a 3378 Backcountry Carbon on a mule deer hunt tomorrow, and I was both in the underground range as well as our outdoor, long distance range, shooting it last week, and was very impressed by it. So this gun, again, whenever I say this, everybody goes, well, then my gun has to do with that. But I mean, we just went down there, shot a 5-shot group at 0.79 inch 5-shot group out of just a cold barrel, scoped this thing up, didn't really dial it in. So, I mean, it was, and that's a 3378. We're talking, I mean, if you haven't seen that case lately, it's ginormous. Pushing a bullet pretty fast. Not saying it's always going to be like that, but I mean, it shot really well. So have we talked about that 300 Weatherby here that's shot those groups? If we do, people are going to say, wait, why doesn't mine do that?
Well, we have some phenomenal accuracy shooters, number one.
And number two, it just does vary barrel to barrel. Every barrel likes different bullets, and we've talked about
have talked about that quite a bit. But this particular barrel, John, is one of our, well, he's actually our lead ballistician, but he sometimes does some accuracy shooting. He's not bad at it. In fact, he's quite good.
And he's got a .02 or .03.
Oh gosh, it was 8 for a while, .08, and then he's like progressively gotten better.
.06 was what it went to, and I've got a printout of that on my desk.
The .06 looks like one hole.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it's incredible.
But I thought he's below .05. But
just like in the last couple of weeks, I think he did that one.
I believe it.
That gun's got a lot of rounds.
The funny thing is, it's all the same gun.
Yeah.
We should.
Well, it's because that gun was held aside to use for accuracy testing with ammo.
Yeah.
To be able to benchmark ammo lots from lot to lot.
Yeah.
And so that's why we have that much data on that gun.
The round count's getting up there too.
It was 900 the last time I talked to him.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
And I was asking if it had slowed
down.
Wait,
I thought Weatherby cartridges burn out barrels in 300 rounds every time.
I'd asked him if it had slowed down. He's like, no, not really. Like, okay.
Yeah, and so we've got a pretty advanced testing system down there. So everything's documented really well, and it's pretty cool to see that. So really, you sacrifice a little bit of weight to go to that carbon barrel, but you're going to feel a little more at home if you're going to the range. And the carbon barrel with the carbon stock, let's be honest, it looks really good.
It does.
Yeah.
But not to say that still what we call pencil barrel, the traditional backcountry gun without the carbon fiber barrel, like my friend Bruce said, we just sent it to. He'd put a dozen rounds through it. Was still holding tight groups, and so it depends on your use. If you think you're going to do a little bit more shooting or more rounds, or you plan on missing your animal, and so when you're in the field, you're going to heat up your barrel. Perhaps that would be there, or at the range, or you think it looks cool. But the traditional, barrel, I think for a hunting scenario is more than adequate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. So that backcountry carbon, you've shot a number of things with that, but the bear this spring.
Yeah, backcountry carbon TI.
Was it Connor's bear last year?
No, that was with a different cartridge, but it wasn't.
I thought it
with
was that
this stock.
model. Okay,
it wasn't with this
different
stock yet. It
stock.
was kind
That's
of a
right.
hybrid. It was probably 1.5 at the time. And then this last fall,
Early testing. That's right.
both moose and elk this last fall as well with this too. So moose, elk, bear, number of things. With this, had it in the field, quite a bit, and put it to some pretty rigorous testing, as far as pack. Elk was 10 miles in, so taking the thing in there quite a bit, and in and out of scabbards on horses to just slinging it on to putting it on a pack to just making sure when you get those lightweight materials, you just start to worry about it. But
all the things that can happen in the backcountry,
exactly,
the more chances it has to experience a scabbard on a horse is a pretty scary thing for a rifle.
Yes.
So
I do have my habit is when I go to tie a horse up, if I hop off the horse, rifle comes out of the scabbard. Because otherwise they love to lay down, roll around, rub up against trees.
Yeah, rub against trees really hard.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
But even though this stock is so light, it's also like when you feel it, you're like almost everybody that's held it is like, this stock, it just feels
it's deceptive.
Stiff. It's impressive.
It's deceptive because you pick it up and you feel how solid it is, but it doesn't translate to how light it is in your hands.
Yeah.
Like it's like your brain doesn't
I
compute.
love when we do writers events or a media event or anything, handing somebody one of the backcountries for the first time that's never felt one before. It's like this glow comes over their face, and all of a sudden they're just like, how is this possible? And then they have this realization that this thing's gonna kick so hard. And so you see their face, they get so happy, and then they look at you and ask this like, yeah, but what's the recoil like?
Zach and I were out at a writers event this summer in Cody, and the guys were shooting the backcountry carbon in the 3378, and they went, man, this light of gun with this over 100 grains of powder in this case.
Yeah,
it's going to pack a punch.
Pushing heavy bullets.
But the guys were really impressed. Came up and started to do slow-mo video of it to go, wow, what is and that's something with this new recoil pad as well as with the other one that we'd had as well. The 3D Hex pad is really charting it out, and we have some charts and graphs to talk about traditional rubber style recoil pads, versus these, and it dissipates it over a longer period. And so we have some equipment to show how that happens, where there's a spike really quick with more of a traditional pad, where this dissipates it out over a lower period.
It's the same amount of energy, but the bell curve is wider.
That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah. So we couldn't really quantify it before, but we used to say it changes it from like a sharp hit to more of a push, and that's just a difference of time. And so
now we have the data.
You're talking
that.
fractions of a second here.
Yeah,
but
and you're seeing the steps.
Helps.
You're seeing the compression of whatever this traditional recoil pad. You'll see it compress, and you see the spike. With the 3D Hex, you see it compress and then spike a little and then compress some more. And as those voids collapse, you actually see it stair steps up. And it just takes longer to do all that.
Right. All in a fraction of a second.
Yeah, you would never know.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty cool data that more to come on that, I think. But pretty neat to see. So very excited about the new Backcountry family. There is some slightly updated color schemes as well. So if you haven't seen in real life with your eyes, if you haven't seen the gun yet, make sure you go check it out at weatherby.com. But there's also, we're not done. There's a couple other things that we need to talk about. The Camilla ultra lightweight is getting a little color scheme update.
In the Mark V, the Camilla.
In the Mark V. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's still going to be $19.99. It's a very lightweight gun, and we had some feedback that the green one with kind of AccuMark looking barrel was stainless steel with black flutes needed something, and so now it's a black stock with some like bronze and sponge painting and matching barrel. It actually looks really, really good.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So check that out. I don't think you've hunted with that one, Adam, but it's okay.
No, if you don't know, the Camilla product named after my grandmother is for women, and I'm a man, Luke.
There you go.
Yep. So I can't offer in the field feedback on that one. So except for my wife hunts with the Camilla a lot.
Yes, she has.
So.
The next new product has been probably one of our single most requested products.
I believe it. Every time
since
I see
I've been here.
Every time I see a social media post on the base gun, the one it's based off of, there are always 3 or 4 comments for this.
But what about a 20 gauge in the Orion family? Well, we got it.
Yep.
Multiple configurations, the same configurations as a 12 gauge. So a 2026, a 2028. Same with the matte blue finish, and then a sporting model with a vented barrel in a 30-inch barrel configuration.
So it's a lightweight 20 gauge over and under. We introduced the 12 gauge a number of years ago in its current configuration, and wanted to redesign and make that 20 gauge receiver to feel good, to swing well. And it's been really a few years in the making, and we finally have them. We've been shooting them, and it does swing well. So what do they weigh exactly? Like 6.5?
Oh man, I want to say they're on the low side of 6 pounds.
Yeah. The low 6s.
You've got ejectors.
6.2 on the 12 or the 2028. Excuse me.
Really?
And
okay.
then
6 even
on the 2026. It's 6 even.
Yeah.
The sporting model is 6.6 pounds.
Yep.
Okay.
And so you've got a matte blue 26-inch, a gloss blue 28-inch, and gloss ported 30-inch with an adjustable comb on that sporting model. So
the 20 gauge, it took a little while because it's not just using the 12 gauge receiver.
No,
it's actually a complete ground up redesign. So it's really skinny, it's really thin, and really light. It swings amazing.
Yep. So it's an ejector gun. It's got interchangeable chokes. Very classic Weatherby look for it. So.
It's got an overall thinner feel to it too, even the forearm and everything. It's just it's got a thinner, I don't know.
Yeah,
more
everything
elegant,
about it was
sleek
able to,
feel to it.
shrink a little. So,
Yep.
I got to carry this a little bit last year in the pheasant field and really enjoyed having a little bit of weight savings. And it's still like, as long as you shoot well, it does its job very well.
No, I was slaying doves with it last week. That was excellent.
Did you guys do well that day?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the only missed shot was at a big fat collared dove that must have been really wily, but everything else was just
Really?
it was lights out.
Huh. That's cool.
So yeah, that's the 20 gauge sporting or 20 gauge Orion, also available in the sporting model. But you can also check that out on weatherby.com. And then last but not least, we actually have a new ammo SKU for the 3378. We went into this year, I think in an earlier podcast, we said you could probably look forward to expecting some different projectiles than what we've loaded before based on supply chain a little bit. We've shipped so much more ammo this year than we ever have.
Correct.
But it's really not been enough. And there's been certain families that are hard to get either brass or projectiles, and not going to throw any specific company under the bus, but some of the projectile companies, they're back ordered so far. If you hand load, it's really tough to get things. If you've gone to any sporting goods store and looked at the ammo shelves, it's hard to find it. So we started getting creative. We added some additional Sirocco SKUs about 6 months ago. Those went really well. And then recently we came across a company called Hammer that makes custom bullets. There's not a lot of people that load them in production. You've actually used them a little bit.
Yeah. I'm going to be hunting with them this week, as a matter of fact. So in the 3378. So they're if you're not familiar with Hammer, and you check them out on their website, but they're up here in the Rocky Mountain West, located in Montana. But they're really kind of custom made bullets. All copper.
It's a solid copper, yeah.
And they have a hunter style bullet in which they're really customizing for us, really for our kind of commercial loading environment. really, really consistent tolerances. And so we are finding exceptional accuracy, but they really made this bullet to have just good expansion and retention and, kind of the terminal performance that we're looking for, not just in a match bullet that we're going to punch paper with, but something we could combine both that's super high end. So in this bullet, you're getting super high-end, super tight tolerances. We're finding exceptional accuracy out of it. That was the 3378 I told you about recently that I was shooting was these bullets. They were shooting really well. If anybody does need the lead-free type of environment, California hunters or different folks, it's offered there as well. So it's a premium. It is a premium bullet. Really, it's going to be offered in our line. So.
Yep. So this new 195 hammer is going to retail for $159.
In the 3378.
In the 3378. It's a 550 BC on G1. If you zero at 300, your drop at 500 is only 22 inches, which is pretty awesome. Muzzle velocity is 3,225 feet per second. Was it last week you and I were talking about what distance to zero at? You don't want to, what were you saying? You don't want it to rise more than
right. So if
4?
I'm using a slower one, I don't know, 3.5. But yeah, it depends, So obviously, in this case,
3.6 at 200.
Yeah.
On the high side.
Sure, and that's with the 195 grain bullet too.
That's
so
big.
It's a new 3378. We now have, I think, our 3378's the fastest commercially available 30 cal round that's out there. Before we had it only in our number 3 contour heavy steel barrel.
Yep.
And so because it is so much, we haven't offered it in our skinnier barrels. So now with the Backcountry Carbon family, you can now get the fastest 30 in a lighter weight gun. And then now we're offering, some more bullet offerings starting with this hammer bullet. So really kind of taking that 3378, giving it both more, projectile offerings as well as, in the rifle. So it's really kind of setting it up to, it's a pretty cool round. There's guys that, man, I mean, when you drink the 3378 Kool-Aid, like, they just, it just shoots so flat. So
it's amazing. And
efficient, it is not, as far as powder. So if you're trying to hoard gunpowder, don't go buy a 3378. But
well, we managed to find some gunpowder and have a new load, so you don't need to load.
Yeah.
And we've got a custom bullet ready to roll for you.
And it's not cheap. It's not cheap, but I mean they are. The way these bullets are turned and made is very custom. So they're very expensive bullets. Not going to lie, expensive bullets, but they're high performance. So if you're looking for fast and accurate, it's your answer to it. So
no question. So
and they're available, which is pretty key these days.
I think that's 90% of the game at the moment.
Right.
Just short update is we are doing our best on ammo. To get as much out the door as we can. Like I said, we've been shipping more than we ever have, but it's going somewhere. And it's been a wild year. We're in mid-September now, and I remember talking back in like January, February on one of the podcasts where we kind of did a general business update, and not a whole lot has changed other than the world's not any better. It's maybe worse. It's been a wild year.
But we've invested in new equipment, new personnel. We've got new suppliers. We've done everything on our end to try to provide the Weatherby customer with ammo, for their rifle. So it is top priority for us. We are investing our time and and our money into making sure that we get ammunition out there. So it is. And we still are. So, go ahead and leave a box on the shelf for somebody else. Do them a favor.
That's right. Well, we're on the heels, like literally to the day of rifle season starting here. Like you're headed out tomorrow.
Right, for a 15th mule deer opener. Yeah.
Yeah. So good luck to everybody out there headed into the field. You can check out all this new stuff at Weatherby.com, and also on our social media pages. We'll be posting a lot about this in the coming days. We're really excited about it. It's pretty cool stuff. So thank you guys for the time, and thanks for listening.